as far as hitting and even connecting with the ball. I think just seeing different types of pitchers and more experienced pitchers, I definitely was not ready for it and I was not expecting it. And even though I put the work in to try and make it better, just mentally I was not checked in at all. January of last year, we were in the midst of our 5 a.m. practices, and my coach came up to me and had a individual meeting with me and asked me how I felt about switching over to the left side and seeing if I was willing to try it, if it's something I've ever thought about, or just to see if it was even possible for me to try it. And it was something I was approached about growing up with different travel coaches, but I never seemed to spend too much time on it to actually try and make it work. So my coaching staff took me to the side and we started doing little basic drills, and I didn't even touch a bat until maybe 1.5 months of just doing footwork and speed and seeing different hand-eye coordination that was necessary to switch over. I was very unsure about how I would go about it, because it is a total different side of the plate and something I've never done before. And since I'm older in my career, it was kind of hard to adjust to that whole other side and just seeing the ball a different way and seeing different pitches go a different way and just not really expecting things from the left side. So the beginning was very frustrating, and especially during games in Florida of last year, I wasn't really connecting and I was getting frustrated. I looked awkward. It felt awkward, and it just was very frustrating in the beginning. But after really trying and looking at drills on different websites and following different people and different D1 college girls that are slappers, I was able to just kind of learn from them. And my coaching staff really helped me and really took the time to make sure this was something I felt comfortable with and something that I was willing to try. And as soon as I didn't feel comfortable with it, they were more than willing to put me back on the right side and try and make it from there. But I really just wanted to do as much as I could to just get on that field and get a starting position. I honestly didn't really feel comfortable with it until maybe halfway through last season. My biggest struggle was my timing. So seeing different pitchers, it wasn't really helping me learn timing. You go from a fast pitcher to a slow pitcher the next game, and everything was just getting kind of mixed up. So I think halfway through the season, when I actually learned the steps and watched different things, I was able to learn what would help me specifically as far as timing. And I played summer ball last summer, and I was able to also work on that and take the time to just not get coached in college softball, but to just see that and be able to take it personally. And then I think just this year, I feel a lot more confident about it. It was beginning to work in Florida, and I think the more I just keep hitting, the more confident I get about it. I'm starting to learn how defense works as far as where I need to hit it to get on base. I've learned that I'm actually a lot faster than I think I am, so also doing that. As far as just getting on the base path, I just have to hit the ball. And I think just the more I hit it, the more confident I get. And now the 1 year of experience definitely has helped me. So I definitely consider myself an actual slapper now. This year's been pretty awesome so far. I know it just started, but we're already more than a dozen games in, and I'm feeling pretty good as far as how I'm doing offensively. It's honestly one of the best feelings ever getting on those bases, because I did have a very frustrating past, and it was very mentally exhausting, it not working or me feeling uncomfortable as far as what I was doing. But just seeing it work now and my batting average being a lot higher than it ever was is so such an awesome feeling. In high school, I was very productive as far as being on the right side. We didn't really play with fences that much, so I kind of just hit it past the outfielders, and because I do utilize my speed a lot, I was able to get around and hit a lot of in the park home runs. I utilize bunting a lot, even from the right side. and just kind of used my speed to just hit singles and make them into doubles or just any way to get the ball on the bat. A freshman year of college was very frustrating. Being on the field, I was very confident with my defense and I trusted my ability as far as that. But when I got up to the plate, I was very mentally not checked in and I definitely struggled as far as hitting and even connecting with the ball. I think just seeing different types of pitchers and more experienced pitchers, I definitely was not ready for it and I was not expecting it. And even though I put the work in to try and make it better, just mentally I was not checked in at all. January of last year, we were in the midst of our 5 a.m. practices and my coach came up to me and had a individual meeting with me and asked me how I felt about switching over to the left side and seeing if I was willing to try it, if it's something I've ever thought about, or just to see if it was even possible for me to try it. And it was something I was approached about growing up with different travel coaches, but I never seemed to spend too much time on it to actually try and make it work. So my coaching staff took me to the side and we started doing little basic drills and I didn't even touch a bat until maybe 1.5 months of just doing footwork and speed and seeing different hand-eye coordination that was necessary to switch over. I was very unsure about how I would go about it, because it is a total different side of the plate and something I've never done before. And since I'm older in my career, it was kind of hard to adjust to that whole other side and just seeing the ball a different way and seeing different pitches go a different way and just not really expecting things from the left side. So the beginning was very frustrating, and especially during games in Florida of last year, I wasn't really connecting and I was getting frustrated. I looked awkward. It felt awkward. And it just was very frustrating in the beginning. But after really trying and looking at drills on different websites and following different people and different D1 college girls that are slappers, I was able to just
Hello and welcome back to the UMB softball field. The Beacons, winners of game number 1, earn their 10th win of the season and first conference win. Western drops their conference opener. They've now lost 2 in a row. They sit at 8-5, 0-1 in conference play. Let's give you a recap of that first game. For the Beacons, a 7-0 victory. Jess Greenspan, the Beacons junior starter, earns her 3rd career win in 5 starts against the Colonials. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, 0 earned, 6 strikeouts to 0 walks. That is her program record-setting 7th career shutout and 41st career win. For the Beacons offensively, well, a lot of players had decent days, but Kira Pressmack had the big hit of the game. With the Beacons already leading 4-0 in the 5th inning, Pressmack hit a line drive down the left field line that defensive replacement Brittany Stankovic dove to try to keep in front of her, couldn't quite get there. It ended up being an inside-the-park 3-run homer, and it gave the Beacons a 7-0 lead after 5. Pressmack finishing 1 for 3 with a run scored, 3 RBI. Her 2nd career home run. The lefty slapper, both have come by way of the inside-the-park home run. The Beacons got multiple hits from Giovanna Bonilla, Roxanne Vento, and Ari Bilotta. Also got a run and an RBI from Cassidy Gaeta, Kelly Danahy, and Ari Bilotta. So nice contributions up and down the lineup for Western. They went through 3 different pitchers. Sarah Tenke took the loss, 4 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, 7 earned, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Alyssa Lionetti came on for 1 batter and retired the batter on a sacrifice fly. And Angelina Miller came on to pitch the 6th, allowed a hit in a scoreless inning of work. For the Colonials, just 6 hits in the matchup. 2 hits coming from Annie Rosa, the designated player who continues to lead the Little East Conference in hitting. Also got a hit apiece from starters Erica Bauer and Sarah Tenke, and 2 hits from pinch hitters. The Colonials suffer a loss. They've now lost 2 in a row against the Beacons for just the 2nd time. The Beacons coming into today trailing the all-time series 41-6. UMass Boston has never swept the Colonials in a doubleheader. They'll look to do that now. Right now, while we're still waiting for the starting lineups for these 2 teams, let's bring you our second Beacon spotlight of the day. It's Roxanne Vento.
When I first came to campus, coach was pretty honest with me and really said, you have a great opportunity to be a part of something amazing and be a starter on this team. It just comes down to you working hard and having good work ethic. And that's kind of what I expected and what I did. She had a lot of hopes for this team when we were coming in.
Been a role model to Vento and the Beacons, as Vento has set a course to break all of Kilauea's records.
In high school, I was very productive as far as being on the right side. We didn't really play with fences that much, so I kind of just hit it past the outfielders. And
it was a group of freshmen, and it was pretty exciting to get to work with all the girls from my freshman class. The first thing I knew about Sue was that she was probably one of the best Beacons softball players in Beacon softball history. Like I said, she holds basically every record, and we joke about it a lot, but she has so much knowledge, and in the last 4 years, I've learned so much from her, not just on the field, but off the field stuff, and we work with each other a lot, especially with my offensive and defensive stuff. She was a catcher, so I feel like I've really elevated my level of play, not only because of Coach Bart and Dags, but also because of Sue. I think that with Sue being a catcher and being a part of this program, she understands a lot of the ups and downs, the challenges we face, the importance of conference games because she's played the same teams and the same coaches. So she kind of has had the experience. So when we struggle, not just myself, but anybody on the team, we kind of look to her and say, how did you do it? How did you approach it? And she gives all of us the best advice she could possibly give. And I think that we're all super grateful for that because she's done a really good job at it. It's pretty exciting, breaking a ton of records, especially being that most of them are Sue's and she's an assistant coach. It's fun because we kind of talk about it a lot. We go back and forth and joke about it. But when it comes to what it means to me and the people around me, it's just nice knowing that I have the support from everyone on the team and they're the ones that make it easy. A lot of those I wouldn't be able to do without them or the coaching staff. So having them, it's super helpful and they really do make it easy. The record that I would be most proud to hold at the end of my career would definitely be the career hits. Sue has that one right now. I don't know the exact number, but I know I'm kind of getting close to it. So I just gotta stay hot and hopefully I'll get it. Definitely something that I've enjoyed being a senior and looking back at everything that we've done and everything we've been able to accomplish. It's definitely been a lot, especially for this program. So being able to walk away after 4 years and say that I gave everything I could give to this program and look back and say we did a lot it's exciting. It's not over yet. We still have a lot more work to do, and we have a lot more left we want to accomplish. But being able to look back, it's nice to know that we've made an impact on this program.
And welcome back to the UMB softball field. My name is Seth Dorensky, bringing you the second game of this Little East Conference doubleheader. The Beacons won Game 1 by a 7-0 score. See the Beacons freshman pitcher out of Amesbury, Massachusetts. It's Hayley Catania, the freshman righty out of Amesbury High School, where she was a softball and field hockey player, named the Player of the Year in the Cape Ann League, where she also earned team MVP honors. Her team at Amesbury won 4 straight Cape Ann League titles, and she led her team to the Division III North Sectional title as a freshman. As a freshman here at UMass Boston, making her 9th appearance and 8th total start, 2-3 in 51 innings of work, 3.43 ERA, which comes in just below or just above Jess Greenspan's by .02, 19 strikeouts versus 18 walks. 67 hits allowed in those 51 innings, 38 runs, 25 earned. She will face off against a similar-looking Western Connecticut State lineup to Game 1, in which they were held to just 6 hits, as Rachel Murrell flares it over to Kelly Donahue, drops it, and the Beacons hand it off, and they're going to call her out. It's going to go down as a 4-3. It should have been a 4U pop-up, but Donahue bobbled it, and then able to hand it over to the first baseman, DeCenso. If DeCenso just picked it up, she clearly would have been out, as right now there's a conversation with the base umpire. That is Paul Powers, who was behind the plate for Game 1. Powers is telling Heather Stone that he thinks that the ball was in the glove of DeCenso when Murrell was still not there. They're going to have a conversation between the umpires. We did see a reversal in Game 1. See right now what Ray Serrano has to say in this situation. That's a difficult one to tell. It's really hard from our angle with the first baseman DeCenso's back turn. They're going to keep the out. So it'll go down as a 4-3 put out at first base on a really odd play. So Murrell is retired. One of the changes in the lineup for Western is Riley McMahon, who came on as a pinch hitter in the fifth inning of Game 1, is in the DP spot, pops up the bunt, and Vento just missed grabbing it. That's such a difficult play. So McMahon is in the lineup ahead of Annie Rosa. She's still hitting third, although she moves from DP to catcher. Charlene Plazinski stays in the cleanout spot playing short. Nicole Manani is hitting fifth and is the first baseman. Natalia Hart hits sixth and will play center. Erica Bauer hits seventh and will play right field. So it's now 0-2 to McMahon. Kayla Jessup hits eighth and plays third, and Jordan Fitzsimmons plays second and hits ninth. So essentially the exact same lineup with the exception of McMahon as the 2-hole. That's a little bit low. Game 1, it was Banani hitting second, but she moves down to the 5 spot. McMahon, a sophomore out of South Windsor, Connecticut, stands at 5'9", swings and misses at the fastball high and away. That's the first strikeout of the day for Catania after Greenspan had 7 strikeouts and no walks in Game 1. Brings up Rosa, who had a pair of singles out to right field, finished 1 for 3. She also grounded out to second. Rosa came in leading the conference in batting average, and she still will be there after Roxanne Vento went 2 for 4. Those two players came in first and second in the conference, both hitting over .530. Rosa, .556 coming into the day with an on-base percentage over .600 and a slugging percentage over .950. Peeled down to first, and Rosa did not go. So the count is at 2-0 to the 3-hole hitter and sophomore out of Washington, Connecticut. Rosa had her best game of the season against New Jersey City University in an 11-0 victory back on the 11th of March. 4 for 4 with 2 runs scored, 4 RBI, 2 doubles, and a home run. Very impressive stat line in that victory. They were down in Florida for 12 games before taking a 2-week break and then playing UMass Boston today. This is their first and second games since the 15th of March. 3-1 count to Rosa with the powerful cleanup hitter Charlene Plazinski on deck. 3-1 offering, a little bit too far inside, and there's the first walk of the day, worked by a Western Connecticut State batter. Bring up Plazinski, the 2017 Little East Conference Rookie of the Year. where she was a third-team All-Region shortstop. Takes the first pitch inside 1-0. Blazinski in that first game struck out swinging her first 2 at-bats before reaching on a fielder's choice in the 6th inning when she hit a grounder to Kelly Danahy, and the base runner in front of her, Rosa, ran into the second baseman. 1-0 here to Blazinski, who had a very successful sophomore year against the Beacons. She went 6 for 12 with 3 runs scored and 2 RBI in 3 meetings. WestConn swept the regular season series before losing to the Beacons in the LEC tournament 7-6 in 11 innings. She was charged with the error in the 11th that allowed Gigi Braga to come all the way in to score from first base. Defense has been her one real issue. This season comes in with team-high 5 errors and an .857 fielding percentage. She's committed double-digit errors in each of her first 2 years. A phenomenal hitter. Cannot say enough good things, but her defense at times has been an issue. As a team, they come in with a league-worst .907 fielding percentage. Only committed 1 error in that first contest. 3-1 as Catania misses a little bit too far inside. One of the difficult parts for pitchers here in between games is recognizing the new strike zone. So Ray Serrano is behind the plate. That one is on the outside corner, 3-2. So Rosa will be off from first base. She reached on a 2-out walk. And Nicole Bonani, who's in the on-deck circle, is hoping to get a chance. Blazinski on the season has 4 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs, and she fouls that one off, and will do it again. In game number 1, Jess Greenspan set the program record for career shutouts, breaking a tie with Emily Wolf and Michelle Zulo. Roxanne Vento tied the program record for doubles with her 41st home run, as that one is low. And so all of a sudden there's 2 on with 2 outs after back-to-back walks. Brings up Nicole Bonani. Started game 1 in the 2-hole. Game 2, she's in the 5 spot. We'll see if that pays off. She lined out to left, grounded out to second, and grounded out back to the pitcher. 0 for 3 in game 1. Takes the first pitch high and outside, 1-0. Bonani, a senior out of Norwalk, Connecticut, at 5'2". As a freshman, she hit .216 in 37 at-bats. As a sophomore, hit .200. Fouls that one off. As a junior, Bonani hit .186, so she actually went down all 3 years before hitting a robust .348 as a senior. So over 130 points higher than her previous season high. Hits that one out to right center, and that's going to add to her total. That's going to score at least 1. Blazinski heads to third base. Bonilla gets it into Danahy, and they'll hold the runners at second and third on a RBI double with 2 down as Bonani takes it to right center and comes in ahead of the throw. So that's the first run of the day for the Colonials and their first lead. Blazinski's at third base, Bonani at second for Natalia Hart. Hart went 0 for 3 in game 1, a pair of strikeouts and a line drive that was knocked down by Greenspan in the circle, and she threw her out. Natalia, junior out of Milford, Connecticut, 5'6". She is going through a little bit of struggles after a really good sophomore season in which she hit .324 with a .400 on base percentage. Chops that one foul. Quickly 0-2. Hart coming into today was hitting just .143, although she did have a .400 on base percentage thanks to 6 walks. Came in 3 of 21. She's now 3 of 24. 6 runs scored, 5 RBI, pair of doubles, and a home run. So at least when she's putting the ball in play, she's putting it pretty far. She swings and misses. That's her 3rd strikeout of the day. And Catania gets out of the first, but not before a 2-out RBI double from Nicole Bonani makes it 1-0 Western after half an inning. Take a look at the numbers on Western Connecticut State starting pitcher Jacqueline Smith, the senior out of Sandwich, Mass. Stands at 5'9". Senior year, 8th appearance, 5th start. Both of them tops on the team. 1-1 with a team best 1.98 ERA. It's actually her 9th appearance as she pitched an inning in relief. Allowed 1 hit in game 1. 35 and a third innings, which is also first. A team high 23 strikeouts versus 6 walks. She's allowed a team high 43 hits, 22 runs, and 10 earned. Has a team high 2 complete games. She's pitched now in 5 in a row and 6 of the team's last 7 games. Last start came back on the 14th of March when she allowed 11 hits, 7 runs, 3 earned, struck out 5 over 7 innings in a loss to North Central Minnesota. Also came on in relief against SUNY Canton and Brockport. And then, of course, in that game 1 appearance against UMass Boston. In that first game against the Beacons, she came on in the 6th inning and retired Giovanna Bonilla and Roxanne Vento, both on groundouts to the first baseman, allowed a hit to Kaylee Ruggiero, but then Gigi Braga, the Beacons pinch runner and current hitter, was thrown out trying to steal second. A little bit outside, 2-0 to Braga, who went 0 for 3 in that first game. A ground out to third, a strikeout swinging, and a ground out back to the circle. Struggling a little bit right now at the plate, trying to get things going. She's such a weapon if she can reach base because of her elite speed. Right now, she has a couple words with the dugout, just as Annie Rosa has a couple of words with Jacqueline Smith of encouragement. Going to get you the defensive alignment for Western in a moment, trying to get in the scorebook first. They make a couple of changes. Jacqueline Smith first and foremost from the right side. 2-0 is off the corner, 3-0. Braga, the first-team all-conference shortstop out of Medford, Mass., has worked 6 walks this year, 5 of 7 on the base pass, so not someone you want to see there. Just a little bit inside. Oh, that's going to be on the corner. 3-1. Looked like might be enough for ball 4, but Ray Serrano says Braga has to see at least one more pitch. Braga takes that one on the outside corner. 3-2. So after back-to-back strikeouts and a little bit of an adjustment with that right cleat, Braga's going to step back into the batter's box at 3-2. Swings and misses. And that's the first out of the bottom of the first inning as Braga has a conversation with Bonilla and Vento, a pair of hitters who will see similar pitches from the left side.
Center fielder number 5, Giovanna Bonilla.
First pitch to Giovanna Bonilla is in there. 4 consecutive strikes from Smith after the first 3 were balls. Bonilla continues her torrid start to the season. The junior out of Queens, New York in game 1 went 2 for 4 with a pair of singles and a run scored. Quickly behind 0-2. Bonilla with that 2 for 4 mark is now 29 of 61, hitting just under 500. The league high 19 runs scored. Smith gets the sign. Takes a while. Now the 0-2 bounces up there. Bonilla to be followed by Roxanne Vento, the 3-0 hitter and catcher. Ari Bilotta hits in the cleanup spot, plays third. Kelly Danahy hits 5th and will be the second baseman. The lone change in the lineup. Alyssa Tulley's the designated player in for Jayla Blackman hitting 6th. As Bonilla hits it back to the pitcher on a hop, and Smith throws out Bonilla for the second out of the inning. Beacon's other change, actually, so there's 2. Tori DeCenso will hit 7th and play first base over Cassidy Gaeta. Kira Pressmack hits 8th and plays left. And Taylor Paulina hits 9th for the second consecutive game and plays right field. For Western, a couple of defensive changes in terms of where they're playing. Rachel Murrell in game 1 was the center fielder. She's in left. Natalia Hart is in center. Erica Bauer moves from left to right. The infield stays the same. Kayla Jessup, Charlene Plazinski, Jordan Fitzsimmons, and Nicole Bonani are on the infield. Annie Rosa is in there instead of Cameron Geisen behind the plate. And Jacqueline Smith is the starters. That ball's hit back to the second baseman for Fitzsimmons. And Vento is retired. So the Beacons go down 1-2-3 in the first. They trail 1-0 after 1 here at the UMB softball field. Hayley Catania out on the mound for the second inning of work. She faces 7, 8, 9. Retired the first two batters she faced, but then walk, RBI double out to right center and strikeout. Allowed Western to put a run up on the board. It'll be Erica Bauer, the right fielder, to be followed by Kayla Jessup, the third baseman, and Jordan Fitzsimmons.
Right fielder number 28, Erica Bauer.
Bauer takes it on the outside corner of the fastball for strike one. Erica doubled to left, then was pinch, and doubled to left, grounded back to the pitcher, was replaced defensively, came back on, reached on an error by the third baseman, and then was pinch ran for. So she finished the game 1 for 3 with a double. Western Connecticut State might lead the country in changes. It's always been a key facet of their large lineup as that one bounces in front of Paulina, kept it in front of her, and that'll keep Bauer at one base on the hard hit single out to right field. I do wonder with how well and how few pitches Jess Greenspan threw in game one, if we'll see Greenspan potentially come on as a reliever if Catania struggles.
Third baseman number 14, Caleb.
Greenspan was absolutely dominating in that first game, and this is a game, if you can sweep Western Connecticut State, you're going to be very, very happy. The Beacons have never done that as the bunt goes foul off the bat of Jessup. Maybe you get a little bit more aggressive if you're the Beacons and some of the changes you make to try to make that happen. Beacons typically will split their pitchers in the regular season before relying a lot more on Greenspan in the postseason. And Catania's a strong pitcher, don't get me wrong. It's just she has been hit a little bit as the bunt is offered at and fouled off 0-2. Greenspan was just so effective in that first game. I almost wondered in the back of my mind if they might go to her for a second game and see if she could keep it up. 0-2 here to Jessup, the 8-hole hitter and third baseman. Played a very good third base today thus far defensively. 0-2, hit back over to Danny. He has a chance for two. The tag is applied. The throw to first. It's a 4-3 double play. The Kelly Danahy special. She has become so good at that play. The tag on the runner, you have to be so alert to where the runner is, and you have to be able to make that tag and immediately set your feet at the same time to throw the ball down to first base. It's a really good play, and that means Catania is 1 out away from getting out of the inning 1-2-3. First pitch is inside to Jordan Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons, the freshman second baseman out of Bristol, Connecticut, who makes her 14th appearance on the year. Had 2-0. Fitzsimmons went 0 for 2 in that first game, a ground out to third base and a ground out to first. She was replaced, pinch hit for in her second at bat. Simmons takes that one high. Jordan had a nice game against SUNY Canton back on the 15th of March. 2 for 3, including a 2 RBI hit in the bottom of the 7th as part of a 4-run 7th inning. They walked off 11-10. 4-pitch walk from Catania, who's now done that in back-to-back innings. 2 outs with no one on and a walk, and that's 3 walks for Catania against the first 9 hitters. Catania on the season had allowed 18 walks in 51 innings, which is not a bad ratio. Talking about a walk every almost 3 innings, a little bit less than that, but has given up 3 walks here in an inning and 2/3. Brings up Rachel Murrell, who grounded out to second base to start this contest. Beacons really want to limit the potential rally here in the second as that one gets away all the way back to the stop on the wild pitch. There's a runner in scoring position with 2 down. You want to get Murrell or McMahon because Annie Rosa, who right now is still in the dugout, would be up in 2 more batters in the hole. Rosa's hitter could easily open up a huge lead with 1 swing of the bat. Just a terrific hitter who already today has reached 3 times in 4 trips to the plate. 1-2 here to Rachel Murrell. Still looking for her first hit of the day. 1-2 from Catania. Hit over to the first baseman, DeCenso, who steps on the bag. We've seen a lot of that today from both sides. So Catania allows a walk and then a wild pitch, but strands Jordan Fitzsimmons at second. It's 1-0 through an inning and a half. While we've got a moment, let's take a look ahead for UMass Boston. 6 of their next 8 games will be on the road. 6 of their next 8 games will be in conference play. This is a tough stretch for UMass Boston. They will play 5 of the top 6 teams in the LAC preseason poll, with the Beacons being that 6th team to start conference play. They've already lost their first 2 games to Plymouth State here at home last Saturday. Then they took one against Western. So if they can earn a win here in game 2, a 2-2 against 2 teams that were picked first and in a tie for third with UMass Boston, feeling pretty good. But the Beacons on Tuesday travel to UMass Dartmouth, picked 6 in the preseason poll. Then they host Framingham State on Thursday in non-conference action. Travel to Eastern, who is picked first overall, and then travel to Southern Maine, who is picked 5th. So a lot of tough games to start. If you can come out at 500 through these first 10 conference games, even at 4-6, you got to feel pretty good about your chances to make the LAC tournament, as the Beacons will finish off their conference season with games against Keene State, Rhode Island College, and Castleton, picked 7, 8, and 9. Not necessarily in that order. The other thing is 6 teams make the LAC tournament in softball, so you just got to be the top 6. Beacons did it last year, winning their final game of the regular season and getting some help to earn the 6th seed, and then they went 4-0 in the conference tournament. Zari Bilotta, high chopper, and that gets underneath Charlene Plazinski. And it's going to be another hit for Ari Bilotta. Ball never really came up after the high hop. And Ari Bilotta continues her torrid streak this week. She's now 3 for 4 on the day and 12 for 15 on the week.
The second baseman, number 8, Kelly Danahy.
That brings all-conference second baseman Kelly Danahy to the plate. Had a really nice day defensively and had an RBI in game 1. Kelly finished that game 1 for 2 with a single to center, RBI ground out, and a walk and a run score. She came home on that 3-run inside the park home run from Kira Pressmack. 0-1 here to Danahy with Bilotta at first base with no outs. I think at this point in the lineup, especially with the way Danahy's been hitting, she's had a pretty good week. You don't think about the bunt. If you're a little bit lower, maybe you think about the bunt already trailing by a run. 1-1 hit right at Plazinski. This should be enough for a double play as Bilotta's not back in time, and that will go down as an L6-3. Absolutely scalded, but right at Plazinski, who's got a strong arm. Brings up Alyssa Tulley, the Beacons DP here in game number 2. Takes a low strike on the outside half. Tulley came on as a pinch hitter for Jayla Blackman in the DP spot in game 1 and hit a line drive out to center that was enough to score a run on a sac fly. 0-1, chopped over to the third baseman, Jessup, long run, picks, scoops the throw, it gets away, and that's going to be an infield single. I don't know if that throw would have beaten Tulley either way. So Tulley picks up her first hit, the Beacons' second of the day and second of the inning against Jacqueline Smith. And they'll bring up Tori DeCenso, who did not play in game number 1. She's split starts this year with Cassidy Gata, a pair of first basemen who came in together as freshmen last season. DeCenso out of Lynn, Massachusetts, stands at 5'7", hitting .267 on the year. She fouls it back, 0-2. 303 on base percentage, 333 slugging percentage, 8 of 30 with 5 runs scored. 6 RBI, has 2 doubles. The issue has been the strikeouts with 11 of them in 30 at-bats, just 2 walks. Has played very good defense, 0 errors on the year. Pops it up foul. That should get out of play, and it will. Stays at 0-2. DeCenso had a really nice day against Wheaton College down in Florida. She went 2 for 5 with a run scored. Had the game-winning double in the 8th inning as the Beacons earned a 7-4 victory. Off the corner, throw down to first, and Tulley's out. They throw behind the runner, and the tag applied to Benani. So the Beacons run into an out. In fact, they run into 3 of them, really. Well, 2. Sorry, Bilotta was thrown out. They're going to have a quick conversation between the umpires. We've already seen Ray Serrano overturn one call. Impossible for us here in the press tent to see, but they're going to actually rule her safe. So the second time today that Ray Serrano has overturned his partner, and the count will run to 1-2 here in the bottom of the second with 2 outs. So new life here for Tor DeCenso and the Beacons. And it's such a rarity with this 2-man crew to see an umpire overturn a call, but Ray Serrano twice has done it today. That one I couldn't tell you whether she was safe or not. In that first game where Vento was ruled out at home, it did look as if Vento should have been safe. 1-2, swung on and missed, so we just see an extra pitch. Through 2 innings, Western 1, UMass Boston 0. Top of the third inning. It'll be 2-3-4 for the Colonials, looking for their first conference win of the season. They lead 1-0 thanks to a 2-out RBI double from Nicole Bonatti in the first. It'll be Riley McMahon, Annie Rosa, and Charlene Plazinski here in the third inning. McMahon struck out swinging for the second out of the first inning. Hayley Catania has retired the first two batters in each of the first two innings. Although the second inning, it was thanks to a double play. That one's a little bit low. 1-1. Hit over to the shortstop, Braga. This is going to be a long throw. It's over there in time. And McMahon is retired. That is a long throw, and McMahon runs well, but Braga got it there maybe a half second before McMahon could get there. And again, the Beacons executing the game plan. No runners on for Annie Rosa, who has all the pop along with Plazinski. Nothing else. You face the opportunity for Western of getting a solo home run, if not anything else, but that's right back to Catania. Fields her position well, and Rosa is retired. So again, 2 on, no outs. This is where Catania has struggled a little bit. She's issued a walk in both times this situation has happened, and 4 of the 5 base runners that have reached against her have come with 2 on and no outs to begin that situation. Plazinski walked in the first and was stranded at third base after she moved over to third on Nicole Bonanni's RBI double to right center. Bonanni's in the on-deck circle. Actually, she's not. No one's in the on-deck circle right now as there's a pop-up foul. One and one to the cleanup hitter. Make it 2-1 now to Plazinski, who's still looking for that first hit of the day. 0 for 3 in game 1. Did reach her first at bat in this contest. Plazinski obviously facing Catania for the first time as Catania is a freshman. Danahy able to keep it in front, throws it across, and continues to be very busy over there at second base. That'll do it for the Colonials. 1, 2, 3 in the third. We head to the bottom of the third. The Beacons will send 8-9-1 to the plate, trying to get their first run of the day against Jacqueline Smith. Take a quick look around the rest of the conference. UMass Dartmouth came back after trailing 2-0 to earn a 5-2 win at Eastern Connecticut State. Eastern Connecticut State, though, is come back in a big way in that game, too. They lead 4-0 in the second inning. Eastern and UMass Dartmouth were 2 of the 3 teams who came in today at 2-0. So Eastern trying to get back into a tie for first at 3-1. UMass Dartmouth currently leads the conference. Castleton earned a nice non-conference win over Skidmore College. No updates from that second game in that doubleheader. And Rhode Island College at Plymouth State and the Keene Southern Maine doubleheaders both postponed. So this is one of just 3 doubleheaders on the docket for today. The Beacons at 1-2 currently sit 4th in the conference because Rhode Island College and Keene State haven't played a conference game. Southern Maine and Castleton are both 0-2. And Western Connecticut State is 0-1. Brings up Kira Pressmack, who had the big hit in game number 1, a 3-run inside the park home run to make it 7-0 in favor of the Beacons. Shoves bunt, pulls it back for strike 1. Now, Pressmack probably isn't going to hit another one in this game. She's closing in 100 career games, and she has 2 home runs. But still, very impressive. couldn't tell you off the top of my head, probably couldn't tell you, period, how many slap hitters have multiple home runs, but it's not going to be a lot. Takes a pitch over the outside half, and it's 1-2. Pressmack out of Houston, Texas. She attended the G.W. Carver Magnet High School, played her high school softball at the Nimitz High School. See, 2-1 misses. Kira attended the NCAA convention back in January as part of the Diversity Coalition. Got to spend a couple days down in Florida with a lot of Division III students from all different kinds of backgrounds as the count runs to 3-2. She's also a theater minor, theater arts. Very active in the UMass Boston theater community. Very busy young lady. 3-1 hit right at Jessa. She can't hold on, and that's going to be a single for Pressmack. That ball was crushed right at Jessup, who threw up her glove to defend herself. Couldn't quite hold on as she bobbled it. And that is the Beacons' third hit in their last 5 batters. So Pressmack aboard the Beacons' second consecutive leadoff base runner. And it'll bring up Taylor Paulina, who had been hitting cleanup previous today. Moved down to the 9-hole, switching with Bilotta, who, again, 12 of 15 on the week. She's been red hot. Paulina fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. This is interesting. Typically with the 9-hole hitter, you're thinking bunt here, but Paulina has a lot of pop. So they're going to see if she can potentially deliver a run-tying double or maybe even a home run. She's hit a few in her collegiate career. 0-1, shows bunt, pulls it back, gets in and out of the glove of the catcher, Rosa. Taking off for second on the pass ball is Pressmack. Pressmack was not going on the pitch, but when Rosa dropped it, she's able to take second. Heather Stone is going to have a meeting just with her battery here. Rosa and Jacqueline Smith. Count is 1-1. Pressmack is at second. Paulina's at the plate with no outs. Now, if you can get a bunt down, you move Pressmack over to third base with just 1 out. Give yourself a great chance to tie the game. Be interesting to see what Heather Stone elects to do with her defense, but right now the conversation just with Smith and Rosa. Rosa forced to catch in the games that Smith pitches because Smith doesn't hit. Whereas in the previous game, Sarah Tenke, also a first baseman, she hit for herself, so that meant Rosa was the designated player, and the slightly better defensive player, Cameron Geisen, was behind the plate. So a little bit of a trade-off. You keep the extremely talented bat, number 1 hitter in the conference in the lineup, but you lose a little bit of that defensive stability behind the plate. Runner on second with no outs. Paulina swinging and fouls off another one. So there goes the opportunity for a bunt as it's now 1-2. Pressmack, one of the fastest Beacons, although she has dealt with injuries the last 2 years. Slowed her down maybe half a step. 1-2, fouled off. Paulina missed most of the Beacons' Florida trip for coming back. In that first game, Taylor finished 0 for 2. Sack bunt. Grounder that went off the pitcher Tenke and was fielded by Plazinski. This one's going to be to Plazinski. Runners run into each other, and that's going to be runner interference. So Paulina will reach on the fielder's choice, but that's terrible for the Beacons because if Pressmack had avoided Plazinski, she's at third base there, and the Beacons might have had runners on the corners. Instead, Plazinski made contact leg to leg. Pressmack has to have the awareness there to get behind the defender. Don't allow the defender to run into you because the defender has to have access to the ball. And in that case, Pressmack, I don't think she necessarily ran into Plazinski, but Plazinski made sure there was going to be contact, and that caused the easy call for the umpire on the base pass, Paul Powers, to call out Pressmack. And that's a break for Western. Instead of having a runner at third with even 1 out, if Plazinski gets Paulina on a slowly hit ball, there's just a runner on first base after the fielder's choice. Throw down to first. Paulina was a step off. We've seen Western throw down to first a lot. Almost got Tulley in the second inning. So Paulina at first, now with one out. Right fielder is way in for Braga, which makes sense because as a lefty slapper, you really don't pull the ball all that frequently, and if you do, it will be a full swing, which Braga rarely does. 5'3", 5'4" rather, out of Medford High School. 2-1 count to her. Shows bunt, doesn't get it. The throw down to second. The tag is not in time. It was a high throw to the right field side of the bag, and Plazinski couldn't quite get it down in time. So Paulina puts herself in scoring position, still with just one out. 2-2 count to Braga there. Might have been a little bit of a bunt and run. Not quite a hit and run, but just trying to put the ball in play. So 2-2 now with Paulina at second, fouls it off. Braga struck out swinging to start the bottom of the first. She has one extra base hit this year. It was a triple against Emmanuel to lead off game number one of that doubleheader. Her first career triple. Does have 5 RBI. Takes it low and outside. Count runs full. 3-2 with Giovanna Bonilla due up next. Infield is in everywhere but the first base spot. That's Nicole Manani. 3-2 pitch. Braga fouls it up and off the top of the Western dugout. Continue along. So despite the fact that everyone in the press tent had 2-2, the umpires officially say it's 2-2 rather than 3-2. So 2-2 here to Braga. That one is 3-2. So instead of being the walk there, Braga has to either put it in play or work one more ball. She's done a nice job fighting off a couple of pitches. Paulina still out there at second base after reaching on the fielder's choice and stealing second. 3-2, hit out to left. That'll go foul once again, but this is what a good lefty slapper does. Just fight off pitches until you can get something you can put down on the ground, or you can work that fourth ball of the at-bat. This is going to be pitch number 9 of the at-bat. Giovanna Bonilla stepping up next. He can just try and extend this inning to get to Roxanne Vento, who owns the program record with over 113 RBI. Hit over to third baseman Jessup. Fields. The throw is there. Paulina takes off late, and she's going to be in there. So Braga effectively does the job of moving up Paulina to third base on the 5-3 ground out. And it'll bring up Bonilla with a chance to drive in the Beacon's first run of game 2. Bonilla grounded back to the pitcher in the first inning. On the day, Joe is 2 for 5. Takes the first pitch on the inside half. First strike, 1. Bonilla attended Archbishop Malloy High School in Queens. Really successful player there as a right-handed hitter. Hit as a righty her freshman season. Moved over to a lefty slapper in the middle of 5 a.m. practices in January of her sophomore year and has become a tremendous slapper as a junior. Behind 0-2, though, in this at-bat. A little bit high, 1-2. Paulina over there at third base reached on the fielder's choice after Pressmack was called out on fielder's interference. 1-2, hit over to Plazinski. Tough play. The throw is not in time, and that's going to be an RBI ground out. So the umpires are talking to each other because the fielder on the umpire on the far side wasn't close to the first base bag. They ruled her out. It looked like she clearly beat it on the near side. as the question from the field umpire was whether or not the first baseman held the bag. It looked like it didn't matter, but for the second time in this game, third time today, they're going to have a discussion, and they're going to rule her safe. So that's 3 times today UMass Boston has argued a call effectively, and it's at least twice out of the 3 times. It's been pretty clear here from our angle that they made the right decision. So it's an infield single for Bonilla, who's now 3 for 6 on the day. Paulina comes in to score, and the Beacons extend the inning. Heather Stone having a conversation with Ray Serrano. I don't think Heather Stone is Ray Serrano's biggest fan. All 3 times, Ray Serrano has been, well, the first 2 specifically, he was the one who overturned the call of Paul Powers. That time, it was kind of impossible to tell what was called originally, but they had a conversation. And they could overturn this a second time. But I believe they're going to leave Bonilla over there at first base as she was able to beat out the throw. So now it's easier because Powers, with the runner on third, was between the shortstop and third baseman. Now with the runner on first base and no one on the left side of the infield, will move over behind the first baseman on the right side. It'll be easier for him to see that bang-bang play. Beacons tie the game at 1 on the infield single from Bonilla. Brings up Roxanne Vento. Takes it on the outside corner. 0-1. Vento has already tied the program record for doubles with their 41st. That came in Game 1. As in Game 1, Vento had a couple of hits. Hits it right back to the second base bag where Fitzsimmons is there and retires Vento. But not before the Beacons score a run and tie the game at 1 through 3 innings. So after yet another challenge goes the Beacons' way, that's 3 of them today where the umpires have conversed and overturned a call that went against the Beacons. 3 for 3. There hasn't been any challenges from Western except for the counter challenge to the Beacons' appeal. Brings up Nicole Bonani, Natalia Hart, and Erica Bauer to start the top of the 4th with the game tied at 1-1. A little bit different than game number 1 in which the Beacons were able to take an early 2-0 lead in the 3rd inning and then scored 5 in the 7th. Nicole Bonani, even the count at 1-1. She had the big hit for Western in this game, an RBI double out to right center that scored Annie Rosa back in the 1st. Hits it over to third baseman. Bilotta takes a high hop, and that'll go for a single. Just caught a rock or a little bit of a divot along the infield, and Bonani is aboard, and we're going to see a change. Anytime they get base runners on, they like to make the changes, and let's see who's going to be replacing Bonani at first base, or if it's going to be a pinch hitter. Not quite sure which. Could be both. Appears to be just the pinch hitter. Natalia Hart was due up, but instead we're going to see Jillian Komornick. Hart has yet to reach today, so it makes sense in a situation like that when you have a leadoff base runner on. But the question is this a bunt situation? Remember, Western led the conference with 18 sack bunts in 12 games. They've yet to have one today through 10 innings. We'll see if Komornik's on to bunt or if she's going to swing away. First pitch to Komornik. Lefty slapper takes it inside, 0-1. Jillian, a freshman out of Shelton, Connecticut, stands at 5'6". Her sister, Hope, is also on the roster, fellow freshman. 0-1 fouled off. You'd assume they're twins, pair of freshmen, but you never know. Stranger things have happened where a player takes a year off or maybe was injured for a year. Komornik behind 0-2. On the season, 1 for 2. Hits that one over the head of Bilotta, but foul. Fourth appearance on the year, 1 for 2. The single, a walk, has not made a play in the field. So, getting the chance to prove herself and potentially earn some more playing time. Her sister, Hope, has also appeared in 2 games, still looking for her first collegiate hit. 0-2 again, fouled off the end of the bat. And we'll do it again. So a good little battle here between Jillian Komornik and Hayley Catania, pair of freshmen. Erica Bauer is due up next, and it does look like Bauer will hit for herself. She was pinch hit for in game 1. 0-2, another foul ball. So if nothing else, Komornik is making Catania work. Would expect Natalia Hart to check back in the bottom half of the inning. Fouled off once again, this time off the wall on the hockey rink to our left. Komornik fouled off 4 consecutive pitches. 6 pitch of the bat, swung on and missed. And Catania picks up her 3rd strikeout of the game and first since the first inning. It's now 10 strikeouts on the day for Beacon's pitching versus 3 walks. Catania's had 3 walks and 3 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings. Brings up Erica Bauer, the 7-0 hitter, who singled out to right field on a hard hit ball to begin the 2nd inning. Ball is crushed out to center, and there's 2 on with 1 out as Bauer has really enjoyed hitting against Catania today. Both times she's hit the ball extremely hard. The good thing for the Beacons is both times the ball has been hit right at an outfielder. Otherwise, there could have been runners at the corners there. We're going to see Josh Bartley just come out and pick up the bat there of a Western player. Wasn't sure if we were going to see a potential meeting at the circle. Looks like we're going to get yet another change. Kayla Jessup is going to be pinch hit for. It's going to be Jenna Houlihan stepping to the plate in the 8-hole.
Pinch hitting for the Colonials, number 27, Jenna Houlihan.
Houlihan, a junior out of Yorktown Heights, New York, stands at 5'5", listed as an infielder out of Lakeland High School. Again, probably going to see Houlihan check out after this half inning, and now we've got a pinch runner at first base. So we've had changes in this inning in the 6th spot, the 7th spot, and the 8th spot. Over at first base, it'll be Brittany Stankiewicz. Stankiewicz came on as a defensive replacement in game 1. Did not have an at-bat or a trip on the bases. So Stankiewicz is over there at first base for Erica Bauer. She might stay on as a defensive replacement, but might not see an at-bat until the next time the 7th spot is due up. Bonani's still at second base, as that is on the inside half for strike 1 to Jenna Houlihan. Houlihan making her 12th appearance on the year. 5 for 17, 294 batting average. A little bit low. Nice job by Vento to keep it in front. 1-1. Houlihan, 5 runs scored, 5 RBI, a triple and a home run. 3 walks versus 1 strikeout. Also has a stolen base to her name. Chance to take the lead right back. Hits it over to DeCenso, who'll backhand, take it to the bag. That'll go as a 3U, and there's now 2 runners in scoring position for the 9-hole. And let's see if we see another pinch hitter in the inning. Jordan Fitzsimmons is ready to hit. We'll see if she stays up there, and I think Fitzsimmons will get the chance to hit in the 9-hole. Fitzsimmons in game 1 was pinch hit for in her second at bat by Kara Hansen. Finished 0 for 2 in game 1. She walked and was stranded at second in the second. 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Western looking to regain the lead after giving up the lead. DeCenso can't make the play, but she's able to find Danahy for the old 3-4, and the Beacons continue to do a pretty good job defensively as they hold Western to 2 more left on base here in the 4th. Welcome back. Because of all those insertions in the top half of the 4th, we have a couple of defensive changes for the Western Connecticut State Colonials here in the bottom of the 4th. Natalia Hart re-entered the game, but she moves over to right field. Brittany Stankovic, who came on as a pinch runner, will stay on in center field, and Kayla Jessup has re-entered. So 2 of the 3 players will stay on. Erica Bauer, who I mentioned, was replaced defensively, but then came on as a hitter once again the next time her lineup spot came up in game 1, will stay on the bench, but you can expect to see her come on again the next time the 7 spot steps up. She's a very strong 2 for 2 in this game. So after a long top of the 4th inning, in fact, back-to-back long half innings, the Beacons step back out for the 4th. They tied it in the bottom of the 3rd on a 2-out RBI single from Giovanna Bonilla, bang-bang play in which the umpires originally ruled Bonilla out before changing the call. Ari Bilotta singled on a high hopper, then went underneath the glove of Charlene Plazinski. Difficult play at shortstop in her lone at bat, but was erased on a line drive double play. It's 2-1 now to Bilotta, the junior third baseman out of Leominster, Mass. Second team all-conference player a year ago. On the week, she's 12 of 15. Player who did not get a lot of time early in the season because of injuries, and she hits that off the glove in fair territory off the first baseman. That's going to be a hit for Bilotta. Diving effort from Nicole Benani, who almost made the catch, but they ruled that Benani was in fair territory, and so it's another hit for Bilotta. She goes the opposite way, and Arianna is now 4 for 5 on the day after going 6 for 6 against Salve Regina, 3 for 5 against Bridgewater State in just one game, and now 4 for 5 today. So a leadoff base runner for UMass Boston. And we'll see what the Beacons elect to do here with Danahy, who had a line drive, but right at the shortstop, Plazinski, in the same situation in the second inning, runner on first and no outs. The Beacons have had the leadoff runner reach in each of the last 3 innings. Danahy shows bunt. It's a good one, and that one's going to roll foul. Too bad, because it died right there, but it just took one last revolution in its spin, and otherwise it would have been a fair ball and a difficult play at first base. Instead, it's 0-2. Danahy in the first contest 1 for 2 with a single, an RBI, a walk, and a run. That one's a little high. Smith today has 1 strikeout, making 2 strikeouts, 1 in each of the first 2 innings. He's yet to allow a walk. This is their 5th inning of work after pitching the final inning in Game 1 with their team trailing 7-0. 1-2. The Beacons looking for their first ever sweep of Western in a conference doubleheader. First ever 3-game winning streak against the Colonials. 2-2 to Danny. Hit over to the third baseman. That's going to be a fair ball. Throw to second is in time. Great play by Jessup. Bang, bang play. But on the 5-4 fielder's choice, Bilotta is retired. So the Beacons trade places just like they did in the 3rd inning when Pressmack led off the inning with the single and then was called out for interfering with the shortstop. See if the Beacons put Danahy in motion here. Throw down to first, and both players dive back in. Danahy to the bag, and Benatti to make sure that ball didn't end up in right field. Annie Rosa has been very aggressive, especially at throwing in behind Beacons runners at first base. Tulley takes it low. Alyssa singled to the third baseman in the 2nd inning. Actually past the third baseman. 1 for 1 today. Alyssa is one of 2 players in this game who has a higher batting average than their on-base percentage. So I didn't know it was possible. Hits that ball up the middle. Plazinski makes a diving effort, but no play at second. Back-to-back hits for Alyssa Tulley. The issue was Plazinski needed a player to throw to, and Fitzsimmons was backing her up. So back-to-back hits, rather 2 hits in the first 3 batters. And the Beacons have 2 on with 1 out for Tori DeCenso. So back to that quick point about batting average and on-base percentage. Alyssa Tulley came into this game with a .293 batting average, but just a .286 on-base percentage. How does that happen? Well, a sacrifice fly does not count against your batting average, but it does count against your on-base percentage. So if you do not get a walk or a hit by pitch and just have hits and outs, but also at least 1 sac fly, you can actually see a lower on-base percentage than a batting average. Did not know that until last night. There's a player on both of these teams who have that exact scenario. DeCenso got off the first pitch and now the second, quickly behind 0-2. Tori struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. The Colonials thought the inning was over when they threw the ball in behind Alyssa Tulley at first base. Initially, the runner was ruled out. Beacons challenged. When I say challenge, there's no official challenge in Division III softball, but they appealed to the umpires. The umpires talked, overturn it, but DeCenso struck out on the next pitch. Here comes the 0-2 to the sophomore first baseman of Lynn Mass. Takes it off the corner, 1-2. Danahy with great speed at second. She reached on a fielder's choice. Alyssa Tulley reached on an infield single to short. Anything to a gap right now would score 1, if not 2. The 1-2 is hit high on the infield. This should be an infield fly. Caught by the first baseman, Benatti. So there's 2 down with 2 on for Kira Pressmack. Pressmack on the day, 2 for 4, a 3-run inside the park home run, and a ball that was scalded on a line past Kayla Jessup at third base, just inside the bag. In her last at bat, she lined one right at Jessup that she wasn't able to hold on to for an infield single. Pressmack takes it off the corner, 1-0. Pressmack to be followed by Taylor Paulina if it gets there. Paulina is a tremendous hitter with runners on. So 2 on, 2 outs. Beacons looking to score a run for a second straight inning and take the lead. Hit out to left, going back on it, not able to make the play is Rachel Murrell. It's going to be a second extra base hit of the day for Pressmack, and the Beacons lead 2-1 on the RBI double. Murrell was in on the lefty slapper, and it was clearly going to be over her head. Tulley unable to maybe force a throw home, but enough to score Danahy, and the Beacons lead it 2-1 on the second extra base hit from their lefty slapper hitting in the 8-hole of the day. She's got 4 RBI. So Tulley moves to third. Pressmack is at second for Taylor Paulina. Beacons trying to blow this one open. Already 2 runs scored against Jacqueline Smith, who came in with a 1.98 ERA in 35 1/3 innings. Paulina takes the first pitch up the middle, pass Fitzsimmons. Tully's going to score. They're going to hold Pressmack, who had to wait, not recognizing there were 2 outs. And the Beacons lead 3-1 after back-to-back RBI hits from the 8 and 9-hole hitters. Pressmack really should have scored there, but I think she wasn't sure on how many outs there were, and that kind of cost her. The Beacons in the inning have 4 hits. Not for a great defensive play from Kayla Jessup, where she just beat Ori Bilotta on a throw to second on a fielder's choice. This could be a really big inning. Already 2 runs in. Beacons feeling pretty good, up 3-1 in the 4th. See if they can do a little bit more damage. Each of the last 2 runs have come in with 2 outs. In fact, all 3 of the Beacons' runs have been scored with 2 outs today. Braga takes it low. It's 1-1 to the Beacons' leadoff hitter. Still looking for that first hit of the day. Struck out swinging the first. Ground out to third in the 3rd. Braga today is 0 for 5. Shows bunt, it's right in front of home plate. Rosa the throw down to first off the helmet of Braga. Pressmack's going to score, and now taking off for third is Paulina, who's in there. And Braga's going to take second on the throw. Heather Stone is asking whether Braga was in the base pass. And if she wasn't in the base pass, it's a throwing error on Rosa, and the Beacons add a 3rd run of the inning and a 4th run overall. So they're going to overturn the call, and it makes sense to me. Braga was running on the inside of the base path, and Rosa didn't step out as far as most catchers do, just threw it off the top of the helmet. The Beacons have gotten every call today, so this is going to go as a 2U on Braga, and the run does not score. So it is a 3-1 Beacons lead, not a 4-1 lead, and the inning is over. So the Beacons lose the run, but in the end, when every call goes your way over a doubleheader, you have to expect at some point the calls are going to change. And I think Western has a really good argument to be made there on whether Braga was in or out of the batters of the baseline there, as she is ruled out, and that means that last run from Pressmack does not count. So the Beacons only get 2 in the inning, but they lead 3-1 after 4. Top of the 5th inning, it's a 3-1 Beacons lead after a bizarre inning in which the Beacons scored 2 runs, appeared as if they had a chance to score 3 and maybe even more. But after the umpires conferred for the 4th time today, they correctly call Braga out. The first pitch is lined out to center field. Giovanna Bonilla, who hasn't had to do much today, at least out in the outfield, is able to make the catch on Rachel Merrill. Started the game in left field, and she's still out there, the only outfielder who's stayed in the same place. But Merrill, the leadoff hitter, is now 0 for 3. Ground out to second, ground out to first, and a fly out to center. Brings up Riley McMahon, the designated player. Struck out swinging, grounded out to shortstop on a nice throw from Braga deep in the hole. See if the Beacons can accomplish their game plan for a sixth time today. Beacon's big focus was getting the top two hitters in the Western lineup so they could avoid seeing Rosa and Plazinski on with base runners. And thus far, Rosa has stepped up 5 times and is yet to see a base runner on. So Beacon's little bit of a stoppage is Kelly Danny made sure to have her defensive wristband rather than her offensive wristband on. Fly out to right down the right field line, and McMahon is 0 for 3. And Annie Rosa steps up to the plate for the 6th time today without a base runner. That's a huge, huge part of the reason the Beacons have been so successful holding Western to just 1 run through 11 innings. Rosa today, she's had a nice day. 2 hits and 3 at-bats in the first game. Both of them singles. A walk and a run scored in the first, the only run scored by the Colonials, and then grounded back to the pitcher in the third on a hard hit ball. 2 for 4, that's going to bring her batting average down after coming in with a conference high 560. Hit out to right, 3 flyouts in the 5th as Western goes down 1-2-3 for just the 2nd time in this game, too. This game is moving quickly again. Head to the bottom of the 5th. We'll bring you a look around Beaconville before we get the Beacons leadoff hitters. Quick look around the rest of Beaconville. The lacrosse team traveled down to New York and suffered a 16-4 setback. They'll play their first home game on campus. They did play Hussing University in a home game that was hosted in an indoor facility off campus a couple of weeks ago. They'll play their first home game this Wednesday when they host Salem State. Looking to end a long losing streak. Track and field was at UMass Dartmouth today. The men's tennis team, they played their home opener today and conference opener, a dominant 9-0 victory. They've won 2 in a row to even their record at 3-3. And the baseball team hoping to beat the Rain tomorrow as they'll play Salve Regina in a non-conference doubleheader, looking to snap a rare 2-game losing streak. For the Beacons in the bottom of the 5th, Giovanna Bonilla, Roxanne Vento, and Ari Bilotta, 2-3-4 for UMass Boston. Beacons scored 1 in the 3rd with 2 outs, 2 more in the 4th with 2 outs, trying to extend their lead after a dominant 7-0 win in game number 1 over the Colonials, just their 7th in program history. Jacqueline Smith steps back into the circle. Ball hit out over the glove there of Smith and no play. That's going to be another single. Even if Plazinski had been able to field that ball, I don't know if she would have gotten the speedy Bonilla. And with Smith stepping in and trying to backhand it, it made it nigh on impossible. So Bonilla now has back-to-back singles on the left side. And
Number 9, Roxy Vento.
She is 4 for 6 on the day. It's amazing what a slap hitter can do when they have confidence, because slapping, sometimes you can hit it perfectly and it's right at someone and they have a good arm. Sometimes if you're going well, you don't even have to hit it that hard or even that perfectly, just things will bounce your way. And right now, Giovanna Bonilla might be the slap hitter who has the most confidence, not only on UMass Boston, but maybe New England, as that ball's hit back to the second baseman. Bonilla is not there in time on the fielder's choice. The second baseman, Fitzsimmons, was able to go the short way to second and just barely beat the speedy Bonilla. Beacons have now hit into a fielder's choice after a leadoff single in 3 consecutive innings. That one will go down as a 4-6 fielder's choice. So Bonilla is off the base pass. Vento's going to stay on. I'm a little surprised by this. UMass Boston, though, with the 3-1 lead, saving their one pinch running chance with Vento maybe for a later situation if they need it. Remember, in softball, you can be taken out of the lineup once and reinserted, but once you're taken out a second time, you're done for the day. So the Beacons thinking that, okay, we're in the fifth, we're up by 2. Maybe we don't want to risk it now in case this game does get tight in the seventh or even go to extras. The ball is just a little inside, but enough for a strike there to Bilotta, who's behind 0-2. Already a perfect 2 for 2. Pair of infield singles in this game. Game number 1, she went 2 for 3, so 4 for 5 on the day. "13 for 16 on the week." Bilotta takes it low, and now Vento was halfway to second base, elected to go back. The throw to second is cut off by Fitzsimmons. It's interesting because Vento's not big-time base runner. She has stolen 2 bags in 2 attempts, but she stopped maybe a third of the way through and was heading back to first base when that throw took off, just hoping maybe for an errant throw. Or maybe just for the catcher to take her eye at the ball. 2-2 is hit out to right. This one might get down in front of the right fielder, and it will. When you're hot, you're absolutely scorching if you're Ari Bilotta. And she didn't hit that one all that well, but her third single of the game, she's now 5 of 6 on the day and 14 of 17. There are hitters who don't get 14 hits in this season. She's done it in a week. 2 on, 1 out, and Kelly Danahy steps up to the plate. Danahy lined into a double play back in the second inning, hard to the shortstop. And then in the fourth inning, hit a ball down the third base line. Kayla Jessup elected to go to second and just barely beat Bilotta for a fielder's choice. Beacons are going to get a pinch runner at second base now for Vento. It's Brittany Perquette. Perquette, freshman out of Pittsfield, Mass. Stands at 5'6". She played softball, soccer, and basketball at Pittsfield High. All-state player in softball, also had over 100 hits. She won the Western Mass D1 title as a senior in softball. Also won the Western Mass title in basketball as a junior. So very accomplished player in terms of winning as a high school player. That happened a lot. A lot of these players for UMass Boston have had a lot of success in high school, and it's translated over. Danahy at the plate won a conference title all 4 seasons at Silver Lake Regional High School. Now has done it 5 years in a row, trying to make it 6 as a sophomore in college. Brittany Perquette's out at second base. She pinch ran for Vento, who reached on a fielder's choice. Ari Bilotta is at first. Danahy hits over to the first baseman. Bonani's only play is to first as the high hop bounces up into her chest, but she holds on. And there's 2 runners in scoring position with 2 down. Brings up Alyssa Tulley today, who's had a very productive day. A sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter in the first game. Single to the third baseman. A single to the shortstop, and a run scored in the fourth. Beacons already in this game have 9 hits.
Designated player number 14, Alyssa.
They have been really hot offensively. 15 in game 2 against Salve Regina the other days. That's a cue shot. This is going to be a difficult play. Unable to pick it up is Bonani, and here comes Bilotta, and the throw is late, and that will allow 2 runs to score. It's going to be an infield single, and then an error on Bonani not picking it up, allowing Bilotta to score. Difficult play there for Bonani, but when she stopped and just saw the ball at her feet, recognizing there was no chance to get Tulley, it allowed Bilotta, who was going hard the whole way, to score from second base, and the Beacons have scored 2 runs for a second straight inning and lead 5-1. So Tulley now 3 for 3. She picks up her second RBI of the day, and the Beacons have scored 5 straight runs, all with 2 outs. Perquette scores from third, Bilotta from second, And Tulley's out there at first base for Tori DeCenso. It's been a really long day for Western Connecticut State. You factor in it's a 3.5, 4-hour bus trip from Western Connecticut. The Colonials were here by 11 a.m. You're talking about a 6:30, 7 o'clock depart time. Then you figure you're probably up at 5:30, maybe even earlier, as that ball's floated out to center. Going back is Fitzsimmons and making the play. Nice job by the second baseman to take charge. But the Beacons are able to score 2 more runs in the 5th. It is 5-1 UMass Boston, looking for their first ever doubleheader sweep of the Colonials. Hayley Catania takes the mound for her 6th inning of work. This was the inning that the Beacons ran into problems with last weekend, but a much better job in Game 1 in the 6th inning when they led 7-0. Western Connecticut State put just 1 runner on against Jess Greenspan. Catania hoping to do a similar thing here. So we got a delay. The Colonials, I think they're missing a batting helmet. Not quite sure what the holdup is here for the Colonials on the third base side. And now Charlene Plazinski's going to make her way out of the dugout. Cleanup hitter is 0 for 4 on the day. In Game 2, she has walked and been stranded at third base and then grounded out to second to end the third. She fouls it back. This has been a really, really strong performance from UMass Boston against a team that has given them nightmares over the years. Beacons have been pretty good this season offensively, but when the offense has been there, sometimes the defense and pitching hasn't been there. When the offense goes away, the defense and pitching has typically been pretty strong, as that's a fly out to right. 4 straight fly balls against Catania, but 4 straight outs. In fact, 6 outs in a row, as Catania also got the last 2 batters of the 4th inning, both on balls on the infield. But really, Western hasn't been able to lift the ball all that often in this doubleheader. All of a sudden, they've hit 4 balls to the outfield, but all right at outfielders, not hit all that hard. Nicole Benani takes the pitch on the outside half, 0-1. Benani is kind of been the star today for a Western team that has struggled. In Game 2, she has an RBI double and a single, as DeCenso is going to have to range, throws it over to Danny, who catches the bag, and that's going to be another 3-4 put out at first base. So Benani is retired for the first time here in Game 2. She has 2 of the team's 4 hits. Western on the day has been held to 10 hits, whereas UMass Boston has 9 hits here in Game 2. And in Game number 1, they had 9 hits as well. So they're nearly doubling up the Colonials for hits on the day. They also have 12 runs versus just 1 for Western. Catania looking for her 3rd 1-2-3 inning in the last 4 frames. Freshman has been very impressive, in line right now for her first collegiate conference win. Came into today's contest at 2-3 after just killing it in Florida. Her first collegiate start went 6 innings, allowed 7 hits, 1 earned run, in a win over Olivet College on opening day. Against Wheaton College, in another victory, she went the full 10 innings. She gets a swing and a miss for strike 3 on Natalia Hart. In that Wheaton game, 10 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, just 1 earned. 4 walks versus 2 strikeouts. In another game against UNE, she took the loss, but went 6 2/3 innings, had 7 hits, 1 earned, and a team high 9 strikeouts in a single game. And we're talking about a player who started off hot, has struggled a little bit since coming back from New England, but she's looking great in this one, just 3 outs away from that first collegiate home and conference victory. So a pitching change for the Colonials. It's Angelina Miller who came on and pitched an inning of relief in game number 1. Allowed just 1 hit. That came against pinch hitter Kaylee Ruggiero. Jacqueline Smith's day may be done. We have seen Western take out a pitcher and reinsert that pitcher. Right now the line on Smith, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned. 2 strikeouts and no walks. She's in line for the loss. Angelina Miller pitched just 7 innings this year. Led the team in innings this season ago. Came in with an ERA of 1.17, and that was before she threw a 7th inning in which she got a scoreless inning. So she pitches the 6th for the 2nd straight game. Again, coming in with their team down big. It was 7-0 in game 1, 5-1 here in the bottom of the 6th, that she'll face 8-9-1. Pressmack, Paulina, and Braga. Pressmack had one of the big hits in this game for UMass Boston. A go-ahead RBI double with 2 outs in the 4th to make it 2-1. Player behind her, Taylor Paulina, added an RBI single up the middle. Beacons added 2 more with 2 outs on an RBI single and an error on an Alyssa Tulley single back in the 5th. So Beacons have scored in 3 straight frames against Jacqueline Smith. Came with an ERA sub 2, but that's going to go up. 5 innings, 5 earned runs. They now face Miller here in the 6th. Pressmack today having a great game too, a great day overall. 1 for 3 in that first game with a 3-run inside the park home run. She's now 3 for 5, a triple shy of the cycle. She had a single in the 3rd inning, but was called out for running into the shortstop. Then had an RBI double over the head of the left fielder Rachel Murrell in the 4th inning, stranded at 3rd base. So really, really good day for the Beacons junior outfielder out of Houston, Texas. Fouls that one back 2-2. It's been a really good day across the board for UMass Boston. The pitching has been phenomenal, allowing just 1 earned run and, more importantly, 3 walks. That's been an issue for UMass Boston at points. 10 strikeouts to 3 walks, a great ratio. Defense has been good, just 1 error. That came with the Beacons leading 7-0 as Pressmack lifts it to left, and it's caught by Plazinski on the outfield grass for out number 1 of the 6th. And then you talk about the offensive numbers. 7 runs in the first game, 5 more here in the 2nd after being limited to just 4 total runs last week against Plymouth State. And it's been productions up and down the lineup. Taylor Paulina takes the first pitch, fouls it off, caught in foul territory by the first baseman, Benani, for out number 2 of the inning. So 2 quick outs. And Jayla Blackman will come on as a pinch hitter in the leadoff spot. Blackman started game number 1, just her second collegiate appearance as a hitter. Blackman went 0 for 2 in that one. Flew out to right, popped up to the first baseman, and then was pinch hit for by Alyssa Tulley, so she'll get a third at bat today. Blackman in her first collegiate start on Thursday against Bridgewater State, 2 for 3 with 2 runs, 3 RBI, hit by pitch and a walk, and she'll look to help the Beacons avoid their first 1-2-3 innings since the first.
Pinch hitting for the Beacons, number 25.
Braga would come on defensively for Blackman. Blackman takes that pitch off the front hip. It's her second hit by pitch in 3 games, and again, the Beacons avoid a 1-2-3 inning. I think we're going to see Braga step out right away. Gigi's been pinch hit for twice. Both times the pinch hitters reached, and she's gone right out to first base. And Braga will replace Blackman, who can only laugh. It helps when it's a breaking ball that you get hit by, and it helps when it's 60 degrees rather than 30 degrees. It doesn't quite hurt as much. Just a gorgeous day here in Boston.
Pinch running at first base for the Beacons, number 3, Gigi Braga. At the plate,
Giovanna Bonilla, 4 for 6 on the day with 4 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. Will step up for a 7th time today. Been a very, very pleasant day to watch some softball. Typically at the UMB softball field, if it's a little cold, a little windy, everyone's bundled up. But today has been almost perfect softball weather. Bonilla takes the pitch, and it's 2-0 to Bonilla, who's the conference leader in runs scored, and it's just such a cool story. 15 combined hits her first 2 years, hit 133. She's hitting just under 500 for the season. In fact, to hit right now, she goes 5 for 7 in this doubleheader. She's got a solid chance to be right back at 500. Player behind her, that's Roxanne Vento. She came into the day hitting over 530. She hasn't had the greatest of day, only has, I think, 2 hits, but she still should be over 500 as that pitch is on the inside half, 2-1. 3-1, rather. Braga over at first base, the pinch runner for Blackman, who was the pinch hitter. Bonilla hits it out to left. It's tailing foul, and it will be foul. Full count to Bonilla, who does have an RBI today. Had a double the other day against Bridgewater State. Each of the Beacons' 3 lefties have at least 1 extra base hit this season. Pressmack has 2 today. Bonilla hits it back on the right side. This is going to be a tough play, and no play for Fitzsimmons. Throw is late, and it should never have been thrown. It gets away, and that'll allow both runners to advance on the sidearm throw by Fitzsimmons. And now Roxanne Vento will not only have a chance to hit, she'll have a chance to hit with 2 runners in scoring position. So Bonilla is now 5 of 7. The offensive numbers this week have just been incredible, as the Beacons now have 19 hits, if my numbers are correct on the day.
Roxy Vento.
Second error in as many innings on Western puts 2 runners in scoring position. And Roxanne Vento, who is still looking for that first hit in this game, running a 10-game hitting streak and has a chance here, 2 outs in the 6th to extend it. Has a chance to add some RBI as well. Takes that pitch on the back. The hit streak is over. Likely it would take a big run from Western, but the bases are loaded for Bilotta, who's 14 of 17 on the week. That's the issue with UMass Boston right now. Pick your poison. None of them are good. Talking about arsenic, talking about mercury, no matter what. Even if you're talking about iocane powder, you're not going to be happy. All right, Bilotta takes the first pitch, fouls it off, 0-1. Bilotta in this game number 2 is 3 for 3 Single to short, single to first, and a single to right with the run scored. On the day, Bilotta is 5 of 6. 0-1, little bit high and in, 1-1. She has 8 RBI on the week, and the crazy part is the one time she's been retired today, back in the first game, she got an RBI. So every at-bat has been productive. The 1-1, that's high, 2-1. Miller was able to retire the first 2 batters of the inning coming on in relief, but since then, hit by pitch, single hit by pitch. 2-1, that's outside, 3-1. Oh, late strike 2 call, 2-2. It was close. It was just a delayed call by Ray Serrano. Got to give him a lot of credit. He has been very active today. Has made a lot of calls. Clearly has been invested in this doubleheader. 2-2. That one misses. 3-2. Had to double check. That pitch was not that much further outside. So a full count here to Bilotta, the Beacons cleanup hitter with the bases loaded and 2 down, already leading 5-1. The 3-2 foul back, and we'll do it again. Bilotta lunged on a pitch that was probably right around the corner. Bilotta, who is making just her 8th appearance of the season, is now 15 of 24 on the year. Don't need a calculator to know that's a very good batting average. The 3-2 hit hard out to left. That's going to get down. It's going to score just the 1 run. They have to hold Bonilla, but it's a 15th hit in 18 at-bats for Ari Bilotta, a 9th RBI, and the Beacons make it 6-1. All 6 runs in this game have come with 2 outs. And it'll bring up Kelly Danahy. And again, the possibility of a mercy rule victory is not out of the question. The Beacons led 7-0 in game 1. All of a sudden at 6-1, if the Beacons were to score 4 runs in the inning with 2 outs, the Beacons could end this game an inning early. Either way, the Beacons would be happy with the victory, but it would certainly be a big surprise for a team that has never mercy ruled Western Connecticut State. Danahy pops this one up. That should do it. Fitzsimmons is under it, and she gives way to the center fielder. That's Stankovic. But the Beacons score a run for a 4th consecutive inning with 2 outs, and it's 6-1 heading to the 7th. Got a couple changes for Western. We anticipated the first change. Erica Bauer, who was pinch ran for in the 4th inning and then stayed on the bench with Brittany Stankovic staying on as a defensive replacement. Erica Bauer's back into the lineup. Bauer is a perfect 2 of 2 with a hard hit single to right and a hard hit single to center. There also is a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle who has already been announced. Hitting in the 8-hole for Kayla Jessup is going to be Kara Hansen, who came on as a pinch hitter and got a hit in Game 1. So Bauer 2 for 2 in this game, one of 2 Colonials with multiple hits against Hayley Catania. Overall, those are the only hits for the Colonials. They have just 4 hits, and 2 from the 5-hole hitter, 2 more from the 7-hole hitter. Big reason why they have just the 1 run. 0-2 to Bauer. Catania has 4 strikeouts, and after some early walk issues with 3 in the first 2 frames, has really settled in nicely. This is one of her better pitching performances of the year, especially New England. Grounder back to the pitcher. Catania, again, does a really nice job of fielding position, and the throw over to first in time to get Bauer for the first time in Game 2. It'll bring up the pinch hitter, Kara Hansen. Hansen, the sophomore out of East Haven, Connecticut, stands at 5'4". Hansen in Game 1 came on as a pinch hitter in the 5th and popped up to shortstop. So still looking for that first hit. First pitch to her is fouled off.
Number 7, Kara Hansen.
Kara making her 10th appearance on the season. 3 for 13 with 2 runs scored, 2 RBI, 2 doubles, 3 walks, no strikeouts, and has yet to see the field. The Beacons have a large roster of 22. Western's roster seems even bigger. Didn't count, but I would guess they're closer to 30. 0-2 here to Hansen. Catania looks for a 3rd consecutive 1-2-3 inning. Overall, Catania has now retired 9 in a row. After giving up getting a strikeout single in the 4th, she retired 2 groundouts, then 4 consecutive flyouts, a groundout to first, a strikeout, and now a groundout back to the mound. Catania just dominated this game. She's retired the leadoff hitter in 6 of her 7 innings and has consistently been not giving up any kind of action until there's at least 2 outs in a frame. A little bit low, so it's now 2-2 to Hansen. Jordan Fitzsimmons, I think, is going to be pinch hit for as well. So we're going to see our second pinch hitter of the inning, no matter what, as the ball is chopped foul. It looks as if it's going to be Alyssa Lionetti, who we saw in relief in Game 1, face just 1 batter. She'll be the pinch hitter in the 9-hole for Fitzsimmons. Swung on and missed. Strikeout number 5 for Catania, and Western is 1 out away from being swept for the first time ever by UMass Boston. This has been such an impressive bounce back from a Beacons team that really shot themselves in the foot last Saturday against Plymouth State, rather last Sunday, because that game was moved because of inclement weather. The Beacons led into the 6th inning against the Panthers in both games. Led 2-0 in Game 1 and 2-1 in Game 2 before giving up 4 runs in Game number 1 and 5 runs in Game number 2 to lose both of those games in their home opener and their conference opener against a team they really feel is a rival. Brings up Alyssa Lionetti. Lionetti, we talked about her as a pitcher. She's been good, the freshman with 7 appearances on the year. As a hitter, this is just her 11th at bat of the season, 2 for 10. Takes the first pitch right at the knee for strike 1. Lionetti 2 for 10 with the run scored, no RBI, has a double and a walk. Lionetti out of Brookfield, Connecticut. That one's inside 1-1. Lionetti pinch hits for Fitzsimmons, who walked and a line or over to the first baseman, DeSenza, who dropped it, but was able to get it over to Danahy for the out to end the 4th. Beacons baseball team, who had an afternoon practice today, they're on bye from conference play, is watching over on the Western Connecticut State side, hoping to see the final out and congratulate their female counterparts. Don't get to see each other frequently as that ball is just foul. Baseball and softball teams typically play the same days, and even if they're both home on the same day, they typically play at the same time. The softball team constantly plays in the afternoon without lights. The baseball team tries to play most of their game in the afternoon as well, just to make sure it's warm enough for everybody who has to work those games. The ball's hit out to right, and we'll see at least one more batter as Alyssa Lionetti comes up with the 5th hit of the day for the Colonials here in Game 2. And we'll see Rachel Merrill, who's still looking for her first hit of the day total. 0 for 3 against Catania, 0 for 6 overall. 5 of her 6 outs have been ground outs. Her last at bat, she flew out to center to lead off the 5th. That breaks a string of 10 consecutive batters retired by Catania. Western scored the first run in this game. That was with 2 outs in the first, but the Beacons have scored runs in each of the last 4 innings, 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, to grab a 6-1 lead as they look to close out the sweep and get back to 500 in conference play. And honestly, if you had told the Beacons coaching staff and players they'd be at 500 after these 2 games, 2 against Plymouth, 2 against Western, I think they'd be okay with that. Roxanne Vento will join Hayley Catania back out at the circle after Ray Serrano took a foul ball off the mask. Nice move there by Vento just to make sure the umpire's a little time to check himself out. 2-1 now to Merrill as Western looks for their first rally. Ball's a little bit low since the first inning. The Colonials have only had multi-hits in this game once in the same inning. That came in the 4th, but Catania was able to induce a couple of groundouts to get out of it. 2-1 on the inside half, and the Colonials are down to potentially their last strike. Absolutely gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Boston. And if we can get this final out in the next couple minutes, we'll finish in just about 4 hours and 5 minutes. Hit out to right. Paulina's under it, and that will do it. The first ever sweep by UMass Boston over Western Connecticut State. A dominating performance. The Beacons get production from up and down the lineup and a pair of tremendous starts. Great defense. UMass Boston evens their record in conference and at home at 2-2. We're going to bring you a very brief post-game show here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. You see the final 6-1. Quick look ahead for UMass Boston. They'll be on the road at UMass Dartmouth on Tuesday. In fact, the Beacons are going to take quite a few road trips over the next 10 days as they'll have 3 road doubleheaders all in conference. They will be back at home on Thursday at 3 and 5 against Framingham State. And finally, let's give a shout out to our production crew. Doing a great job. It's a little easier when their fingers aren't freezing and they can actually feel their bodies, but doing a great job either way. Gigi Braga, your producer, Bree Colucci directing, Eileen Shee and Casey Shea on camera. My name is Seth Lorenski, your play-by-play guy, saying thanks so much for joining us. UMass Boston sweeps 7-0 and 6-1, their first ever